All right, sorry we're back from the brief break. Wanted to make sure that we are all settled here. So yeah, what we were talking about is looks like things are working again. So what we were talking about is just Aaron Rodgers was able to step up and kind of be who you guys needed him to be who you guys wanted him to be. And not really much of a concern on defense, right? Like the Jets were kind of running you guys ragged a little bit. But in my opinion, that can't be like too much of a worry right now, especially with your guys' defensive history.
I mean, they've got two guys that can run really effectively in Brees and Justin. And at the end of the day, here's what we're wondering is how do the Steelers address this? Well, we did in the first round and the fifth round of the draft, and neither of those guys were playing in the middle of the defensive line at nose tackle where they're supposed to. So one was out, and one was just kind of getting tried out at kind of a more traditional D tackle role. So we're excited. Also, the wide receiver 2 mystery seems to have potentially been solved with Calvin Austin also having a breakout game.
Calvin Austin played really well. I was going to say something about
catching Calvin Austin.
Yeah, I was going to say something about this. So all offseason, you kind of heard a lot about Roman Wilson, and out of the Steelers camp, you heard just mainly about Roman Wilson. It seemed pretty much
Calvin
like
was injured, to be fair.
Yeah, it seemed like an open and shut case. Like because even last year it was like it seemed like with Roman Wilson's injury that Calvin wasn't taking the steps necessary. And then it feels like he came out in week 1 and was like, yeah, well, you guys have been talking about Roman Wilson. Let me show you what I've been working on.
Yeah.
The dude was going up like you said, like it wasn't like he was taking easy grabs. It's not like Aaron Rodgers was throwing 2013 Aaron Rodgers footballs. Like he was going up and battling for footballs. And for a smaller receiver like him, I mean, if he could do that while he's such a burner, I mean, Roman Wilson might have just lost his wide receiver 2 spot,
Well, so to be fair to Roman, is Calvin's been ahead of him on the depth chart. There's one thing that everybody knows Mike Tomlin's going to do, which is he's going to give the older guy the shot first in almost every circumstance. And we hate it in a lot of ways, but in a lot of times it works. And those are the times when it's not talked about.
Yeah.
Calvin Austin being wide receiver 2 on the depth chart was not talked about very much because we were just kind of like, it's probably, Roman hasn't played a game yet.
Yeah.
Well, now Roman Wilson has played a real game healthy.
Yeah.
But Calvin Austin was ahead of him on the depth chart because he's the older guy that we were giving a shot to, and he made the most of his shot. I'm curious to see if that means we see less of Roman Wilson altogether, which I don't think you can because he was only in for 10% of snaps, or if we just see him play the slot now because they were playing Roman exclusively on the outside in preseason and in training camp, but Calvin Austin was injured throughout all of preseason and training camp. So that could very well have been them saying, in case Calvin Austin can't play, we need a guy on the outside. And so that's the more important position. But now, will Roman Wilson be allowed to eat in the slot a little bit? I'd be really excited to see that, personally.
What I liked about your guys' offense was you guys really were. So this was a question you and I had, I guess, privately. Obviously, we just started the show. But Trey and I were talking a lot about the amount of tight ends you guys have, right? Like you guys are like the team that has legitimately like 3, I mean, let's say 2 with Pat and Jonnu. I know you're a fan of Darnell Washington, but they have 2 starting caliber tight ends, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Darnell Washington, who's more of a blocker, but
Darnell's a surprise you with a big catch tight end, not a go out on routes every.
And what I liked was, although I didn't see any Roman Wilson, which in my opinion is a little red flag, but what I liked was they were working the 2 tight end sets. Like they were working it to perfection. Like Jonnu Smith, and they weren't just doing those like wing sets. They were really embracing that like Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski type offense where it was like Jonnu Smith was taking jet sweeps, taking screens. Some of them you were like, why would you kind of do a screen to Jonnu there and not someone else? But it keeps the defense off guard to not only have to worry about DK Metcalf, right? Because Calvin Austin showed like he's ready to ball. And then the 2 tight ends, Pat and Jonnu mainly. Darnell Washington I think he did make a good big catch in the game. But mainly Jonnu.
He's mainly out blocking,
Yeah, Jonnu and Pat were showing that like this offense isn't going to be easy to stop.
Yeah, and the reason why it's not a red flag for me seeing Roman in so little is because I think we're gonna see two receivers out there most of the time for us.
Mhm.
Because even if you look at last year, we had gone out and gotten Van Jefferson, we had gone out and gotten Mike Williams, which say what you will about him, those are wide receiver 3 caliber guys for sure.
Yeah.
Um, we still didn't have that. We were still leading the league in 13 personnel, especially. I think we were top 3 in 13 personnel, if not number 1. And then in
Mhm.
12 personnel, we were I think top 8 or something in the league in 12 personnel. We like having
Big
2 tight
bodies.
ends or
Yeah.
3 tight ends out there. Arthur Smith loves the screen game. You actually saw Kenneth Gainwell out there for more plays
He
than
played a
Jalen
lot.
Warren. Yeah,
Yeah.
he played more snaps than Jalen, despite Jalen being the more effective runner because we were throwing so many screens. Arthur Smith likes to make defenses drop and spread out and really
Mhm.
have to work those near corners of the field so that a lot more of that sort of sideline ball or crosser ball is available, especially now that he has a guy that Mike Tomlin will allow to throw in the middle of the field. Because I think Justin busted the myth that it was him that was the reason why we weren't throwing to the middle of the field, because he did it very effectively. But Tomlin has always been very hesitant to let unproven guys throw to that part of the field. He barely let Russ throw to that part of the field.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that I told you this offseason I was really excited about with the Aaron Rodgers pickup was, if nothing else, Mike Tomlin will not be allowed to tell Aaron Rodgers not to throw to the middle of the field, because Aaron will just say, "I'm sorry, boss. I'm
Yeah.
throwing to the middle of the field if it's
For
there."
sure. Yeah, and yeah, I think the Steelers' offense looked good. But let's pivot a little bit. Let's give them some constructive criticism because one, a game that close against the Jets for a team of their caliber, in my opinion, is unacceptable. The amount of money they
Sure.
spend on
Yeah.
defense, the amount of moves they've made on defense, the amount of name recognition they have on defense, in my opinion, is just not acceptable. Jalen Ramsey made a big
No.
hit at the end of the game, which was great.
And he himself played well. He, I think, allowed like something
Darius
like
Slay was
10 or
getting
11.
worked.
Slay was getting
Worked.
torched. Slay was getting absolutely torched.
Which was my big
Yeah.
issue with you guys was the older corners, which, and I think that's another issue though, is Slay had to play outside because Jalen's not as comfortable outside as a corner anymore. He likes playing his slot or nickel, and he likes kind of being the safety blanket over the top. He doesn't necessarily like being a one-on-one corner anymore. But even more than the defense, because the defense is an easy pain point, and let's be real, the defense is probably going to get better. If it does, like if they come in this week and allow another 30 points, then next week on the show, you and I will probably both be in agreement that the defense is a major problem right now. But my biggest problem with you guys was the run game this week. The run game was the biggest, because that's not something where it's like the defense where it's like, bro, it's Jalen Ramsey, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Connor Hayward. They'll be fine. Or Cam Hayward. They'll be fine. That was a part where it's like, you just got rid of Najee, which you had your true like 1-2 punch value there. You had the Najee Harris power back. Jalen Warren could come in and relieve some pressure and open it up. And Caleb Johnson didn't really look that effective.
Well, we only ran him, I think, twice.
Kenneth Gainwell looked fine, but he didn't really look that good if he was running the ball.
No.
And then Jalen Warren looked like he just couldn't get going.
Yeah, the line was a problem. They weren't great.
Yeah.
Obviously Broderick Jones had a really bad game.
Yeah.
Do I think it's 100% on him? Technically, anything they do on the field is on them. But I think we've fucked with him. We fucked with him the way we fucked with Kenny and not allowing him to just be and giving him his position. Here's what I looked at. I looked at the charts and of all the tackles in the NFL, and I saw Broderick in a pretty bad spot. But you know who I saw in a much worse spot? Dan Moore Jr. on the Titans. He did much worse than Broderick. So people trying to say, is it time to cut Broderick? Shut the F up. Let it happen. Let things progress.
Yeah, it's only week one. It's just.
But I think what I told you was going to happen, and I think you still doubt me on this because it's still just week one, was this year was going to show us how good Najee actually was at turning nothing into something so consistently. That dude got hit in the backfield so much, and we saw it happen again this week. We had more yards after contact than we had yards rushing. We were getting hit in the backfield. The average depth of contact for us was negative 0.1 yards every rush. We were getting hit a little bit behind the line on average every time. But Najee Harris was the guy who was like, I don't care. I'm going to bust one up. Let the lineman
Yeah.
get behind me and shove me through for a couple yards and make something out of nothing. So I think we're going to see either the line's going to improve and it's going to be harder to see that Najee was as good as he was, or the line's not going to improve. And I think you're going to keep seeing that letting go of Najee just did not make sense yet. I don't know what gain, because Warren we had either way. What does Gainwell add?
Yeah.
We didn't get anything for Najee. We just didn't spend the money, but we're sitting on money right now. We have carryover.
Well, and the biggest thing with Najee was you didn't spend the money, but you did spend the money. You spent it on Warren. Like they obviously made a choice.
Yeah. And we got a good deal on Warren. I'll be fair. Well, we probably would have had to pay Najee a little bit more than Warren to stay, because Najee was, I think, from what I had heard,
isn't
Najee
Warren
was tired
12
of
a
getting
year?
beat up. No, he's like 7 a year. Guaranteed.
Najee is only 9. I think you could have offered him that contract and he would have stayed.
We could. Well, I think he wanted to go back. I think he wanted to be at the Chargers more than he wanted to be with the Steelers, to be frank.
Sure.
No running back wants to be that guy. Even Eckler kind of got flamed for saying this, but no running back wants to be the guy that just gets it in the backfield to get hit in the backfield all the time and then get told that they fucking suck by the entire fan base because they're averaging only 3.5 to 4 yards carry. It's like, it's a tough position, and I don't envy Caleb Johnson for being the sort of consensus Najee replacement. And then he's probably going to get slandered in a similar way.
And my biggest issue with Caleb Johnson is he can't break tackles at the NFL level right now. He's just not good at it. He wasn't good at it in college, and that was his biggest issue coming out. Was that dude gets tackled by a pair of floss, and you saw it in the preseason. You even saw it on, because they had him on special teams a bit. He gets tackled by everything. But yeah, all in all, I mean, if I was the Steelers, I wouldn't worry. Again, it's week 1, guys. These are not overreactions. These are just reactions. And speaking of reactions, we talked up the Steelers quite a bit. The 49ers, we're going to talk our teams on this show. So Steelers, Niners. The 49ers got a defensive win, which we haven't seen in a while, namely because Saleh and D'Amico have been gone. We've had some rough ones. We've had Staley, Sorensen, and we had Wilkes, who wasn't awful, wasn't Saleh or D'Amico. But yeah, I mean, Niners being a defensive first team seemingly again, which is awesome in my opinion, because like I feel about the Steelers, where it's like the defense will get sorted out. It's the same thing with the offense with Kyle Shanahan. He always figures it out. It's not ever like, I don't think Kyle's ever had a season where his offense has been legitimately bad. Same with Mike Tomlin and his defense. So yeah, true. I mean, as an outsider looking in, I know you didn't know much about Niners defense because a lot of them's rookies. What did you think? I mean, they kind of clamped up, no?
Niners defense looked pretty good. The front looked really, really good. The back end, it was hard to tell because Sam was throwing some off-target stuff, but it looked decent, Yeah,
the biggest issue was Upton Stout, the rookie corner that kept getting torched a bit. They did the DPI for the touchdown, and yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly the Seahawks weren't very successful. It's hard to know because the Seahawks were one of those question mark teams where you're like, how well are they going to do? How much better is Geno than Sam or Sam than Geno? They were really considered, I think, the same class of quarterback because they both got thrown. Geno wasn't in a new situation, but he was given a new opportunity fairly recently that worked out for him. Sam Darnold was thrown in a new situation that worked out for him. So we don't really know what they are yet until they play a softer defense. But I think it looked good. I don't think there's much to be worried about with the Niners defense for sure. It's definitely not a point of concern.
Which, in my opinion, is kind of a red flag, no? Like, if there's nothing to worry about with the defense when you got this offensive guru head coach and you have all these star powers on the offense that are now hurt. You got George Kittle hurt. BA's hurt. But the good thing about it is they're going to come back all at the same time. Apparently, Brock Purdy, Kittle, and all of them are going to be back around week 5. Which is incredible for the Niners. But now here's my thing. Here's my pivot to pessimism is Mac Jones is coming in, right? And I know everyone loves to meme on Mac Jones. Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler with a worse offense than he has in San Francisco, with a worse offensive coordinator than he has in San Francisco. And he's running a very quarterback-friendly scheme. And not only is it quarterback-friendly, it's Mac Jones-friendly. It's not a lot of deep play action. It's a lot of snap and get the ball out, which in my opinion, and this is where I'd like to hear your thing. Brock Purdy, I believe he was in the top 5 highest times to throw in the league this week. The dude just wasn't letting the ball go. We saw that as a problem last year as well. He just couldn't seem to let the ball go last year, not seeming to let the ball go this year. The last time he had success was when he started letting the ball go. So do you think, because I am of the opinion that Mac Jones can come in here and look better than Brock Purdy has the last year, including week 1? What are you thinking?
I mean, in the sense that any backup has that chance to come in and have their couple backup games before settling down, I think, sure. I don't think consistently he could be better. I just think Brock looked really bad. I think he probably looked worse than you think he looked.
I heard he looked fantastic.
You heard it from who?
49ers Twitter is adoring his game-winning drive and his game-winning throw. And I quote, I've gotten this tweet. His perfect throw to make Jake Tonjes a household name. So,
yeah, that was a perfect throw to somebody, but they were wearing a Seahawks jersey.
I was told it was a contested 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
And that's what quarterbacks are supposed to do for their players.
Yeah. I was told the tooth fairy was real too at some point. But,
okay.
But no, here's my thing. Brock Purdy does have one, and I've said this about him. Brock Purdy has 2 elite abilities. One elite ability is to get out of the pocket without ever taking his eyes off the field. That dude can do that better than as well as any quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then secondly, he does have that. He has that poise. He has that end game poise where you don't see adversity hit and Brock kind of shake. The issue is I think he's super talent limited. And I think the talent he's limited by is not only his own, it's the receiver talent. And I think the reason why you saw that time to throw go so long and him be successful when he throws quicker, it's because he throws successfully when Shanahan's system is able to effectively get guys open. And people act like Shanahan can make literal bums get open all the time. But I think you're starting to see that once some bums are on the field, it gets a lot harder to get them open in reality than it seemed like it would be in theory.
So I want to hit one point for you. I do want to throw in. I like how you said Brock has that poise. But would your opinion change if I told you that last year he was a bottom 5 fourth quarter quarterback? He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in the fourth quarter. He was actually atrocious. He had more I believe he had like 1 touchdown and to like 10 interceptions.
And that's my thing about that is it doesn't necessarily change what I'm saying about his poise.
Okay, you're talking about his energy.
Yes, okay. Exactly. Like the JJ McCarthy thing, like for that could have gone either way. But what you wouldn't have been able to say whether the Vikings won or lost that game is that JJ McCarthy doesn't have poise in the face of adversity. I think he made a fan of me big time in that game. And Brock had that attitude for me too. But some of those guys can almost get too confident and they can try, and he even said it, try too hard to play hero ball. And then the poise doesn't necessarily pan out with better play. And I also think it can be system dependent because you see quarterbacks walk into the Steelers, like both Fields and Russ were top 5 guys in the fourth quarter with the Steelers and had historically been bottom 10 guys in the fourth quarter everywhere else that they had played. So I think there's something to be said about fourth quarter systems as well.
We have Washed Gamer, aka our buddy Mitchell, said Brock Purdy, future flag football gold medalist. He honestly might have to start playing flag football because this dude's injured every year playing NFL football.
He does get hurt a lot. I don't think Brock Purdy is gonna bounce out of the NFL. I think he could definitely get bounced to being a really good backup though, and he would be a really good backup.
Okay, so
but he's getting paid $50 million, which I think is a little bit of a misstep by the 49ers.
Here's another thought experiment for you. Would you be surprised if my prediction comes true and the offense looks more efficient with Mac Jones? It looks better than Brock Purdy's offense has looked. And I'm not talking 2023 because a lot of people go back to Brock 2 years ago.
You're talking about
the last year and week 1. Mac Jones comes in, puts together a 3 to 5 game stretch where the offense actually looks great. I'm not even saying solid. It looks great.
Not 3 to 5. I think he could do it next week and he could maybe do it the week after. But I think as with most of these sort of backups that get thrown in that shock you, like Josh Dobbs and in Minnesota and whatnot, I think it'll calm down. But Mac Jones has all the same limitations and benefits, in my opinion, as Brock. I think
I think he's a better arm, though. He has a much better arm. He is a much better deep ball.
I'm not super high. I'm not as high on Mac Jones's arm as you are. I think they have very.
I'm not high on it.
Similar arms. They're both pretty strong mid-range throwers and can put a deep ball or two on the money a game, in my opinion.
No, so I'm not high on it, but Brock has one of the weakest arms in the league. Let's just call it what it is. This dude throws a 10-yard out and that thing's floating.
I don't know. I think he's done okay. Thing that I think you're going to be missing with Mac Jones that might struggle is the thing we haven't touched on with the Niners, which is that their line looked really, really bad. And I don't think Mac Jones is nearly as good, again, because I think Brock has an elite ability to do this. I don't think Mac Jones is nearly as good at rolling out of the pocket while keeping his eyes locked on open guys down the field.
I agree. I think that's where Mac and him differ. I think the big difference is Mac has a better arm talent, and I think Brock Purdy has significantly better mobility. But I think – so my prediction is this. I think the offense is going to look a lot like when Jimmy was playing. The ball is going to be out very fast. And it's going to look a lot like your guys' game, actually. I think the ball is going to be out very quickly. I think the ball is going to have to be out quickly and on time. And I think Mac Jones, that is when he was actually looked at as, wait, this guy could be pretty good, was when he was allowed to sit back, enjoy the system, and get the ball out quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if Niners defense is really where Mac Jones's was, though, because you have to remember they played a snow game against Josh Allen, and Mac Jones threw for like 40 yards, and they won. You know, you got to remember the Patriots defense was on like a transcendental level.
I mean, even if you look at Mac's numbers, though, they were good. Like, he had good numbers. He was playing decent. Well.
Yeah, I think, again, I think you might be right in the sense that I think Kyle Shanahan will scheme for a worse quarterback, and so he will give the quarterback even less to do. But the issue is he's not going to have Kittle.
Yeah, I do think that is going to hurt. But and that's what I'm saying.
And how many times do we think CMC can out-receive the receiving core, out-rush every rusher? You know, how many games can he be expected to do that coming off injury before you lose him too?
Well, so we're apparently going to have Juwan. We're going to have Ricky. And then we did just sign Kendrick Bourne, who's another solid wide receiver 3. He's good. He's solid. And he played with Mac.
I was going to say, I don't know how I wasn't sure how the timelines lined up there.
Kendrick Bourne actually said great things about Mac prior to Mac even being on, prior to them even hooking up on the Niners. He said he actually thinks Mac's a really good thrower of the football. So I think that's going to be interesting.
He and I disagree, but
it's going to be definitely something to watch. I love to see their defense pull out and be fantastic and be what it is. And then the special teams, obviously, is something we'll have to see because we have a new kicker. So,
bro, it doesn't get worse. That's the thing. That's the thing is it doesn't get worse than a missed 27-yarder. It just doesn't.
Let's move on to probably the hottest topic of the week right now. That's not our favorite teams because Steelers and Niners own the NFL.
Yeah.
Is Caleb Williams fixable? So me and Trey, to give you a little backup, have a very differing opinions on Caleb Williams. We do meet in the middle on him a bit, but right now we have very different opinions. Although this Monday night game, this dude went from playing an excellent 3 quarters of football to, wow, he is missing everything. And I think that might be where I'm a little taken aback because I
would say an excellent 2 quarters, a decent third quarter, and then a really bad.
Here's my thing with quarterbacks, right? Like you can teach certain things. Accuracy, in my opinion, is one of those things. Like accuracy and timing is one of those things. It's really hard to get right if you don't know what you're doing. And it really looks like Caleb was missing unacceptable layups to win that game. That deep ball to DJ Moore, I guarantee.
Have you seen the cope about that, by the way, online?
31 out of 32 quarterbacks hit that throw. I don't think you could grab. Anthony Richardson hits that. Actually, okay, I'm not going to go crazy. He probably doesn't. But 31 out of
Jimmy G probably hits it. Jimmy G floats that shit.
I feel like you would be hard pressed to find a
quarterback. I don't know though. I saw Jimmy G with the famous Tay Adams ball where he was kind of running the same route where he's like, "Give me the bull, and
Yeah,
Jimmy just
like,
doesn't see him. So
I'm going to be honest. He missed in that slant. I mean, that slant, the reason
your
it
mic
didn't.
cut out.
Oh, hello? Am I better? Saying I'm talking.
Let's see.
Hello?
It's not me, I don't think. My audio's working.
Hello, hello.
Yep.
Hello, hello. Oh, I can hear myself
Still
on the
nothing.
stream. I can hear myself on the stream.
This is a temporary problem, ladies and gentlemen. Hold your seats. You hear yourself on stream?
Yep.
Oh, I'm testing my audio in Streamlabs and it's working.
Weird.
It's interesting.
Hello.
Here, let me get out and get in.
All right. What's up, fellas? What's up, everyone? Quick little technical difficulty in StreamYard here. So we'll be right back. But what I was saying about Caleb Williams is just his accuracy is a bit worrisome right now, guys. Like, if any of you are watching and want to chime in on this topic while Trey's trying to fix his audio, what do you think's going on? Why is someone as talented as Caleb Williams missing layups, missing freebies? I feel like these should be. Yeah, I feel like that game against Minnesota, there were so many times where you were just watching someone so talented miss easy throws. And I think the Bears should have won that game. I think you replay that game with those same situations 100 out of 100 times, and they win. You know? So I'm just not 100% sure what could possibly be going on with them to where these issues aren't able to get better at some point. He's been working with Ben Johnson an entire offseason. He's been working with this offense. He's been working with, he's been working so hard. Hello, Trey, can you hear me?
Yep, we're good.
All right, perfect. So what I was telling the boys as you were gone is the biggest issue is just the Bears should have won that game. Like, that's one of those games, and it sucks when you lose those to a divisional opponent because you can't get a divisional loss back. Those suck.
No.
Those are tiebreaker hurdles.
Especially not your. So this is the thing: is everything was going their way. JJ's very first game, no Jordan Addison. They lost their tackle shortly before the game, like a day or two before the Vikings lost their tackle, and it was a Bears home game.
The Bears, they had basically no secondary, so I mean that kind of sucked. That kind of did a lot for their comeback. They couldn't really cover, but I mean, with Caleb, dude, like at some point, why is someone this talented, this naturally good at football? How do you miss this? Like, how do you consistently miss layups? And how do you go about fixing it?
So this is my problem that I've had with Caleb from the beginning. And I think people laughed at me at first because it sounded like the easy problem to have that you don't even need to watch tape to say. But I was serious about it, and I did watch a lot of his games last year. And it's that his bad attitude shows on the field. Mm-hmm. When adversity comes, Caleb blames. He doesn't lock in. He doesn't say, "Look, let's fucking go. Let's get it, boys." Like, he doesn't. You can see it on his face. Like, and people made fun of it. There's all the pictures, but those pictures are alarming. Like, it is like he is not concerned at all about showing how displeased he is with the state of a game to everybody he's playing with and against. And I think if you can't control just how you look, you're definitely not going to be able to control how you play when there's opposing forces working against you who are getting hyped by their basically rookie quarterback. I mean, he didn't play all year or really practice much. Telling them after he throws a pick six, he's able to keep his head up and say, where would you guys rather be? Nowhere. Let's fucking do this. And then scoring 3 touchdowns to end the game. Like, you saw a guy with it and a guy without it. And Caleb is without it because at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys that come in that are really physically talented He may be the most physically talented of them all. I don't see that. I see Anthony Richardson as more physically talented than Caleb.
I think when they talk about that with Caleb, they're talking about his arm talent,
True,
his
yeah,
escape ability.
and the angles and
Yeah.
all that, and he did put it together, with some accuracy. But the issue is between the ears is what matters. Your ability to stay poised. People even say it about Cam Newton because he was one of those guys that you forget was as good as he was because of how his career ended. But they were like when he was his best, it was because Pat McAfee described him as being the maestro of an offense. He just felt so in control, and he exuded that control, and that it went through, and he literally won the most games in the regular season because of that. Because if you want to win consistently, you have to be a guy who sees adversity and says, let's get that one back, instead of the guy that sees adversity and says, come on guys, what are we doing?
So you just don't like him because he paints his nails, basically.
Yeah, sure.
No,
I think his attitude just isn't it, man. I don't think it's an NFL attitude.
Do you think, I'm trying to word this correctly, do you think Ben Johnson is going to look at this next draft carefully?
No. I think they're pot committed. You have to be. All that you gave up,
Why?
all you could have had, because you could have had Justin Fields, Bijan Robinson, and a first-round D tackle or offensive lineman in addition to what they already have on that team with the money they have and the picks they would have gotten for Caleb. You can't really turn back on Caleb now.
Why? So here's my thing. I agree with you if it wasn't Ben Johnson, right? Because Ben Johnson, and a lot of coaches do this when they come into new situations with an already predetermined franchise guy, right? They'll come in and say, well, I didn't draft him.
That's fair.
This isn't the quarterback I wanted to start my tenure with. So do you think, and again,
the GM, I think that GM would have to get fired for him to be allowed to do it.
But that's my thing my question is, who has the keys? Is it Ben Johnson, the young stud coach that you gave in absurd amounts of money to, or is it Caleb Williams?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, in terms of that GM, I think it's going to be Caleb Williams because that GM did draft Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. That GM, Caleb Williams, sink or swim, is that going to be this GM's identity for this team, is whether or not he made the right move in that draft. And if a coach tries to undermine Caleb's ability to prove the GM right, I think Ben Johnson goes before the GM does. How many coaches have we seen come in and out of that building because they won't blame the front office?
Yeah, I mean, so my biggest thing with this is I obviously think Caleb's going to play out the year most likely, unless he just is off.
I don't have anyone else.
They just gave Badgett an extension, and there were rumors that some players wanted Badgett to be the starter.
I mean, you see Badgett's attitude. Badgett may not have all this, but he's got this. He's got that. Who gives a fuck? We're here. We're in the NFL. Let's play some football. He's got that attitude.
My thing is, I think there is a huge possibility that if Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson go 6-11, 7-10, I think there might be a huge possibility that Ben Johnson goes, look, man, I tried working with the dude for a year. His attitude's not matching up. And I need to go a different direction if you guys want me to bring some sort of success here to Chicago.
Yeah,
I think that could be a huge possibility.
You see what Ben Johnson had to do with the Lions, right? He had to get Jared Goff in some situations he'd never been in before, doing things he hadn't been in before, and so he needed a guy who was just going to say, "Yeah, you're the coach. You're the coach. I'm the quarterback. I'll do whatever the coach says the quarterback does for this play."
And I do think that could be another excuse for Caleb Williams, right? Is Ben Johnson didn't want DeAndre Swift. He got rid of him when he got there. He was like, this dude is not good enough. I don't want him on my team.
Yeah.
And now he had to inherit him again.
Yep.
And so I think that may be a pain point where it's kind of hard to open up your pass game when you have DeAndre Swift and not Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
Sure, but how many times have coaches said that? How many times have coaches been in the position where they're like, yeah, I want to improve the Bears, but the Ryan Poles doesn't want to improve the Bears. And so it's and how many times have we seen Ryan Poles win that fight? Maybe you're right. Maybe the ownership will finally be like, okay, Ryan Poles doesn't get to win this time. But man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears right now, in my opinion, is Caleb Williams fixable thing, I think it's really, really going to come down to these next few weeks. I think we're really going to see who and how Caleb is as a player, a quarterback, in the next few weeks. Can he put his head down and grind out a little bit? And I'm not saying he needs to be perfect like he was to start the game. I don't need to see that consistently. What I need to see is, like you said, I need to see some leadership out of him.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even care if he went Jalen Carter and spit in somebody's face. Like, show me something that shows me you care, and that you want to get better, and that you're not – I don't want to see you on the bench like this. Again, like he was like that when he missed the big throw. I don't want to see you like that. Why are you like that? DJ Moore should be like that. He should be sitting there like, bro, I literally had a walk-in touchdown. And he missed it.
And you got to see what Caleb does. This is the thing with Caleb trying to be so much his own brand, not be like anybody else. He needs to look around at other people. What was Tom Brady like when he had a bad play? iPad, head down, watching what happened. What did I see and what was actually going on, so that I don't see that again. Tom Brady in Tampa Bay was doing that. So literally the guy who should know the most about the quarterback position could still sit down and be humble and think, okay, there was something I missed on that play, and there's something I can learn right now during this game while I'm on the bench from it.
And another big issue I have with Caleb, and I am a Caleb fan. Again, I still think 5K 50 touchdowns is going to happen. But my biggest thing that I started noticing Caleb once their offense started sputtering is, dude, he's so rushed. Like, the NFL is obviously so much faster than he can. And this was my biggest worry coming out of college, was I didn't think he knew how to read a defense. He loves You want to know why quarterbacks as talented as him love backyard football? It was the same issue Patrick Mahomes struggled with. He just had Andy Reid. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where to look, and I don't know where to put the ball. Like, I don't know. And that's what you said about Tom Brady. Peyton Manning brings it up a lot. They are quarterbacks that if you ask them, Aaron Rodgers probably talks about this. I know where I'm throwing before I snap the football. I can look at this defense and I can say, oh, yeah, I'm going to throw it here. And then I can look over there, and if it's for whatever reason not open, I know, okay, well, then this is open. And that's where Caleb struggles. You will see him in the pocket. He snaps the ball, and he's either staring down his first read for about 10 years, or it's the opposite. His head is like moving at lightning speed, and you're like, dude, you're missing open guys all over the place because you're straight Madden looking all over the field. And I think that's the biggest issue I do feel bad because it probably didn't help his rookie year, him having no support. But Ben Johnson really, really needs to coddle him. And I've said this since the beginning. Caleb Williams is a developmental project. No one wanted to admit that. He doesn't know how to read a defense.
Because I don't think anyone wanted to admit it, because you don't pick a developmental project and number one overall usually. I mean, right? You pick the pro ready. Everybody says number one is supposed to be the pro ready guy. I mean, we saw who the pro ready guy was. It was Jaden Daniels. Yep. And again, there's a limit to the talent, I'm sure, and he might slump this year a little bit because of that. But I mean, he was pro ready. He came into the pros and was ready.
And here's my thing with Jaden Daniels too is, look what his offense was. It was so easy, and everyone kept talking about it. Defenses talked about it all year. I mean, it's just 1-2 read defense, just a 1-2 defense, just a 1-2 or a 1-2 offense, just a 1-2 offense. But no one could stop it. And I think, in part, again, I love Ben Johnson. I think he's phenomenal. But I think that's why he was so good, was with a Jared Goff type, because they're intelligent, they can absorb a lot of information, and they can really just identify who's going to be open, when, and where. I think Caleb needs a simplified Ben Johnson. He's being too complex for him with all the fakes, the tricks, the actions, the screens. And I think it's messing with him a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the things that really needs to change fast is the willingness to do things differently for Caleb. I think that's one of the things that came out in that write-up about him is, if he doesn't like what you're telling him to do, he will walk away, which is insane. You know, like, that's that entitlement thing where we're like, nobody just gets to walk away when they're getting paid to do work, you know?
For sure.
And it's troubling, because you look at JJ, and that's what you want to see, as a guy get better throughout the game and get better in the fourth quarter. And that only ever comes from absorbing the expertise of your head coach. I mean, just absorbing that and living in that and just trusting him and leaning on that. Because that's really what it looked like in the last. We'll make it a quarterback versus quarterback thing because they were in the same draft class and all that drama. But
Go ahead.
really, it was a head coach versus head coach thing.
For sure.
For sure. And one quarterback was in tune with his head coach and one wasn't.
And I think that's another thing people like, again, that I want to emphasize a little bit about this so people aren't spinning out and be like, oh, you think Caleb Williams is done? I think Ben Johnson's a rookie, bro. I think Ben Johnson is used to Dan Campbell controlling the energy. And that's a big thing that I even criticize Kyle Shanahan for, man, is when you are a coach, you're also a psychologist. You need to be able to manage egos.
And even a cheerleader. I mean, look at Jim Harbaugh, dude. He's a literal cheerleader.
Look at KOC. He's in JJ's face. He's shoving him. He's getting him hyped up. Ben Johnson does the same things Caleb does. You can't be that way. And it's same with Kyle. That's why I was so happy when the Niners brought Saul back. You saw that defense instantly. Like we had like 5 rookies starting. That doesn't matter because you have a guy right there that even if you make a tackle, he's like, let's get it. Like he is in your grill, like making you like, oh yeah, hell yeah. Like this is what I want to do.
He's the kind of guy where if you're winning by 3, he's like, well, then we don't let him score.
Yeah.
Okay. We're winning by 3. We're winning. You know?
I think that's another thing that needs to fix is Caleb Williams fixable? Ben Johnson needs to be fixable. He needs to be flexible. He needs to show Caleb that flexibility needs to be an option, right? And because all we've heard out of camp is, oh yeah, like Ben Johnson's such a hard ass. He's kicking people out of practice. Like in today's NFL, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in today's NFL, that doesn't work with this generation of players anymore.
I mean, definitely not the one he's got. I mean, it might work with some. I think you could get guys that respond well to that.
I think you have to have
will only respond with that, but not Caleb.
I think you have, and no, because I'm saying it with everyone, because he was doing it to everyone. Yeah. And I think you can only do that if you're successful. Like Tomlin can do that. I got a ring.
And Belichick could do that too. Belichick's probably the best example of a guy who's just like, you fucking suck.
And Vrabel can do it. Why? Because Vrabel, dude, they were talking about it on a podcast. Vrabel puts pads on and goes, all right, let's get it. Like you have to demand that. Like you can't just walk in and expect like, yeah, I'm just going to walk in here and start kicking people out of practice and being a hard ass. And they're just going to automatically respect me for it because I made the NFC Championship one game and choked it. Like you can't really expect that in my opinion. And I think
because you could spin that. You could really spin that as Dan Campbell having infinite faith in Ben Johnson and consistently giving him the opportunities instead of the special teams coach, and Ben Johnson fumbling those bags. Like we all agree that it's probably just wasn't good decision making from Dan Campbell. Sure. But I mean, if we're gonna put the same spotlight on Ben that we're gonna put on Caleb, which I think is only fair, then you can say, well, now looking back, Ben Johnson did get a lot of opportunities to be that guru he was told we were told he was, and Dan Campbell gave him every opportunity, and if he just succeeded one time, they would have won those games.
And I mean, I'll even say it too, like in part with yours is, I mean, there were a lot of plays there that just weren't there that Caleb had to make, and Caleb had to do something. Like the rushing touchdown, there was nothing there, and Caleb made it happen. Yeah, and so yeah, I agree. I think for as much as we are giving Caleb shit, Ben Johnson didn't coach a perfect game either.
Yeah, and with how complex the offense is, in the huddle, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder how much freedom Caleb gets pre-snap in terms of hots and checks, because in my opinion, you see someone pressed up on DJ Moore like that, we change our progression. But the issue is, one of the issues with that was Caleb's whole progression was on the right side of the field, despite the fact that your wide receiver 1 is pressed on the left side of the field.
Yeah.
Does he have the freedom to check out of that progression and say, I'm just hitting DJ. I'm just gonna see if DJ gets this ball. Because if he was just immediately watching DJ won immediately. Once he's 2 steps off the guy, there were 2.5 seconds to throw on that ball. But the whole progression was on the right side of the field. So it's kind of like,
I think he most likely doesn't have the freedom because he doesn't know how to read the defense well.
That's
like
fair.
I don't think he'd be able to read that, like you're saying.
Maybe. That feels like a Madden read to me, though. DJ Moore pressed up. But I think they're playing the Vikings, so you don't know if someone's actually pressed.
And here's my big thing, too, is I've said this about Kyle, and I'm going to say it about Ben Johnson. because they're both similar. They're both these offensive innovators that want to be hard asses.
Yeah.
You need to take a page out of Andy Reid's book when you have an uber talented quarterback like Caleb Williams and Patrick Mahomes. You need to meet them halfway. Yes,
Sure.
Caleb Williams doesn't know how to read a defense well. Do what Andy did the first 3 years when Patrick didn't. Make it easy. Make plays that are backyard football and say, listen, go with your instincts. Go with your gut, because your gut won you a Heisman. Your gut got you the first overall pick.
And that Mahomes magic shit is literally just that. It is Mahomes feeling confident that, man, if I just kind of float this out and it gets batted to someone and the defense catches it, no one's going to give me a hard time about it. They're going to say, good try.
Yeah. And so, we've talked through this quite a bit, but yeah, I think to finish up, I think Caleb is fixable, but Ben Johnson has to fix himself as well,
Yeah.
And so now let's get into our biggest surprises of the week. I'll kind of let you start with this one because I already got mine blocked.
Biggest surprise. It's tough because
you could have one or two.
Yeah. I mean, there's an obvious one to everyone, I think.
Which
I don't want to go with that one.
What one?
Daniel Jones.
No, I was saying it in our first one. Remember, I was like, this team could be gross.
Sure.
I think he could have a Darnold year.
I just don't think anyone expected week one for it to happen like that.
Oh, dude. I'm telling you, crazy. Man. I was seeing that Darnold year.
I'll go with the second easiest one, JJ McCarthy. To the point that it was a surprise until the fourth quarter that he did what he did. Like, I was with you. I was just kind of down on JJ. I was like, he had the perfect situation that did not ask much of him, and he's getting a lot of credit for it. He handed the ball off a lot. He played point guard.
I still think he's bad, but yeah,
I don't see him taking control of a game that the team doesn't already have control over.
Mm-hmm.
He surprised me a lot. I saw him basically play out an entire preseason in 3 quarters and then become an NFL quarterback in the fourth. And I'm not saying that I'm guaranteeing he's good, but he definitely made a fan out of me in that game but I'm a Steelers fan. The fourth quarter is all that matters to me because that's what we live for. 3 quarters are going to be disgusting and hard to watch. And then somehow the fourth quarter, you're going to be having a heart attack, screaming, waking your neighbors when the fourth quarter comes around because you're going to win a game that you should not have won.
Yeah, man. I would say mine is, it isn't really necessarily a surprise. I think in the aspect it happened, it's a surprise. I didn't think the Dolphins would flop over, but dude, the Colts, man, I was saying it. I was like, I think Daniel Jones is primed for a Sam Darnold Vikings year. I don't think he's as bad as people think, and I think this offense is great. And
I think you don't think he's as bad as people think, and you don't think Sam Darnold was as good as people thought he was.
Yeah,
you don't think that. You think kind of the bridge is short on both sides in that regard.
Yeah, and so I think Daniel played great, man. He looked awesome. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. And, man, they bitch slapped the Dolphins, so I have a few surprises on the negative end. And we can attack these however you want.
Whatever you want to do. I can do a negative surprise right after you do this one. And
the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Bengals. Those are my 3,
when you said out of the true upsets, who would I call? And I said, I think if out of true upsets that would truly be an upset, Browns-Bengals was the one I thought had the highest chance. And it almost happened.
It was a missed kick away from happening.
Yep.
They missed the kick. And so, we could attack this however you want. I don't know if one of these are your surprise, but the Patriots, credit to Geno and blah, blah, blah. Geno played great. My issue with the Patriots was, man, their run game and their receivers are so much worse than I thought they were going to be.
Bro, Booty looks slow. Even the highlights looked like they were happening in slow motion. I get that he had a good game statistically, but if that's your best guy, you are fucked.
Yeah, they looked awful. The Dolphins need to fire Mike McDaniel. I don't care what excuse you make. He's got to get fired. Tua sucks. And then, yeah,
you've been waiting for that one.
The Bengals, bro, what the hell is going on with these 3?
That's what happens. That's what happens when you rely on the offense. You're begging for inconsistency. Consistency is so much easier on defense because you can move pieces around and you can be pistachio disguisey and you can change things up. And like the Vikings have shown, you can outplay your talent so much easier on defense, right? We've seen Steelers put up top 10 defenses when half the guys were gone half the year.
Yeah.
if you're just relying on the offense to go brazy, but then you play a shit team like the Browns, who just so happen to have a feature edge rusher and a feature cornerback, and just a generally good defensive culture, you're gonna have fucking problems. I mean, it's just gonna be a problem, and you're gonna get games taken off you. And they should have had a game taken off them. They're lucky that they
yes.
didn't. But they're gonna. This is why they were where they were. Is because I don't think the Ravens. You could say what you want to say. They're terrible with leads. When you get beat by the Bills, that's not getting a game taken off you. Steelers don't generally get a ton of game. For every game we get taken off us, we take a win off of one or two other teams. The Bengals will get wins taken off them consistently because they will not invest in their defense.
Yeah. Okay, and so who is your biggest surprise of the week? You said you had a negative one. So who's your negative one?
I was going individual. Individually.
Okay, so who?
It's kind of a tie, I would say. This was tough. For me,
you can give both.
No, I'll do a team one. My biggest negative surprise, I think, was the Lions. I think it's tough because it's week 1. And I don't expect them to continue to look like that. Where I would say people say like the Miami is a big negative surprise, where I would say, no, I knew they were shit the whole time. I have to say the Lions was a surprise because I was also saying you're all being silly. The Lions aren't going to be that much worse. And I still don't think they're going to be that much worse this year. I think the Packers are a really good team.
I was saying they were the worst in the division. Yeah.
You were saying they were going to be bad. I still think they're going to be pretty good. So that first game surprised me being as one-sided as it was. That's unacceptable with the talent that they have. Just period, point blank. They came with a reloaded secondary, which is one of their biggest issues on defense. The offense is mostly healthy. Like, just what are you missing? Nothing. You gotta keep it closer. Like, you can get beat by the Packers week 1. That's okay. You cannot get beat like that by any team week 1.
So who is your? I'm curious now. Who is your person? Because I'm very curious. Because you said you had a person in mind. I'm curious who it is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably whatchamacallit? It's probably Dan Campbell.
Oh, okay. I was thinking a player. All right.
No, but like Dan Campbell that's why I said I'll make it a team thing because it felt kind of unfair. So I won't elaborate any. It's the same reasons.
Yeah.
But I was like, I should probably spread it out to the whole team because like obviously new coordinator probably has a lot to do with that too.
Two new ones.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was going to be Dan Campbell's, but I was like, I'll just abstract it to the team.
Yeah, man. I think week 1 was a lot of fun. And you know who else? I'm going to say it. I've been saying it, man. I said it even when he had a good rookie year. CJ Stroud, dude. He is not that good. He was not. The Ravens opened up the can, and I was telling everyone, I was like, CJ's bad against the blitz. CJ's bad when he has pressure. He's going to need a stellar offensive line to continue the success. The last year, and now week 1, this dude cannot move the football.
Yeah. Oh, that's if we're doing that, if we're doing quarterback calls, everybody in the Steelers community who shout on me for saying that we should have kept Justin Fields on the field and kept him.
Yeah, but wouldn't they just say, well, we won the game anyways?
Yeah, congrats. You beat the Jets, but the Jets put 32 on you with Justin Fields and one wide receiver. He had one fucking wide receiver.
Yeah, before we go to the next segment, can we gush on Justin Fields a little bit? The dude
I have played knowing.
Incredible.
Obviously, he is incredible.
He played it well, but here's the thing. I will say, caveat, he's still bad late in the fourth quarter. Still bad. He still does not know what to do late in the fourth quarter.
Well, I think we also, Steelers, again, we play well in the fourth quarter, largely through our defense getting stops. And, right, he hit some guys. Like, he hit Garrett Wilson there to get that first down, and then Jalen Ramsey laid the fucking wood on him. But we started putting Jalen on and around Garrett Wilson more, right? He wasn't on him. Every time Garrett Wilson caught something, it was Slay on him. One time it was Porter on him. All of a sudden, we got Jalen on them.
I don't know if the Jets will do anything because their defense is absolute ass.
Yeah.
But that offensive trio of Brees, Fields, and Garrett Wilson is going to be fun to watch this
That's
year. I
another
think
surprise of the season. The Jets' offensive line. Like, they loaded up, but it feels like the story has been about how the Bears loaded up theirs. The Jets also made transactions to load up their offensive line. And that plus really effective game planning. I mean, they didn't run it to TJ's side literally the entire game, which was smart. But as a result, their tackle put up good numbers against TJ because Justin Fields was able to run out of like 3 sacks that should have been sacks.
Yeah, wow,
that tackle would have.
That's a slippery bastard right there.
That tackle would have been near. That's the crazy part. He would have been near the bottom if there are 3 plays where TJ got a hand on Justin Fields. And if he's any other quarterback, because that's what Tomlin said before the game. He's like, Justin Fields isn't just elusive, guys. One of the big things about him is he's strong too. Mm-hmm. So he's hard to bring down. If those 3 turn into sacks, so if it's any other quarterback, that tackle's automatic all the way from like a top 5 tackle in performance that week all the way to a bottom 10. So, but the interior of that line beat the fuck out of us. Our defensive line was bad before. Don't get me wrong. It was not that bad against basically any team. That was incredible.
Dude, the Jets, their offense looks fun. I don't know if it was just a week 1 thing or if they're going to keep looking good. I think they're going to struggle against a good running defense. I think that's going to be where you see
that's where all the leaks happened. We started getting hit deep once Brees Hall broke a 20 and then a 15-yard rush. That's why people will say, what? The secondary was bad too. It's like, yeah, kind of. But the issue was the secondary was bad because we were having
Slay was. They were picking on Slay, man. That dude was getting.
Yeah, they were picking on Slay in zone. When he was in man, I saw the tape in man, and he was doing pretty well at holding on guys. But the issue is when we were stacking the box, we started going into zone a lot because we were having the box stacked and we were having the DBs play zone so that we could cover a little bit more of the field. And it was not great.
Yeah, they were there, but. Oh, no, I will say it was a 10 out of 10 week 1. Every game I felt was close.
Dude, and Chris fucking Boswell.
Exciting.
You know what was the
Boswell hitting a 75-yard field goal.
Yeah, that was the littlest surprise of the week. That was the no surprise of the week. Was literally our mutual friend, I was on a Discord call with him while we were watching a game, and Boswell walked it out. I was like, well, we win. We're making it. It's only 60. No problem.
Yeah, as a Niner fan, I know exactly how that feels. Every time the kicker goes out, I'm sitting there
exactly what the outcome is.
That's cash. That's a free dub. And so to kind of walk us out a little bit, we got the game in about 30 minutes to an hour. What are your Thursday night predictions? I'm going to start off with, I obviously got the Packers. Again, I'm not that high on the Commanders. I think they're going to have a fall off, and I think the Packers are one of the best teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, Debo had a good week last week. I don't think that happens against the Packers. And I think, without him being able to make plays, you're not going to be able to beat that Packers offense. They have so many guys who can catch great balls. I think they have a wide receiver 1 in Golden that's going to emerge in one of these next couple games.
Yeah.
So
I love Matthew Golden.
Yeah. I think it's Packers. And I think it's by at least a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to a buddy and I said Packers 31-10. I think this is going to be an ass beating. I think Micah is going to wreak havoc on that offensive line. I did not like the Commanders' run game last week. Yeah. It was not very good.
Losing B-Rob was a very silly decision in my opinion. But
I didn't like their pass game. Sorry, their run game was great, but I just think the Packers are going to be a lot harder to run at than the Giants. No offense to the Giants, and I think the Giants couldn't capitalize on stops and stuff like that.
We don't know though, because the Packers might be easy to run on because they lost their D tackle to get Micah.
Hey, I am open for another banger game. That's
why I think we're looking more at like I'll say a 24-17 type game where I think it's a little more even because I think the Commanders will be able to stay on the field for a while with their run game. That's actually a concern for me. Edgerrin Cooper is incredible. He's a good run stopper, but they lost Kenny Clark and they added Parsons, whose number 1 goal is going to be to get in that backfield. So I don't think he's going to be as,
he's a very, very, very bad. He's one of the worst run defenders
I didn't want to. I didn't want to shit on him, so I was going to say his goal is going to be the quarterback.
I got it because the Niners own the Packers. So yeah,
if I'm the Commanders' offense, though, I run some read option. I run a little bit of read option on that. I make Micah's instinct to go quarterback. I make it regrettable because the moment you get him to go for the running back, letting the quarterback rip, and then you will get Micah Parsons deadlocked and never paying attention to the running back the whole rest of the game.
What do you think about the quarterback battle? I mean, I know you and I aren't super high on Jordan Love. Yeah, he looked pretty good last week against the Lions, but again, it's the Lions.
Love to me is, I really like him in an individual game. I think he can make some really flashy throws that I don't think I've seen Jaden Daniels make. Mm-hmm. But in terms of just game-to-game consistency, I'd go Jaden Daniels.
My comp for Jordan Love is unironically Brett Favre. I think he's very boomer bust, right? He's gonna throw it into coverage.
And he's got a lot of great receivers too. Like Christian Watson's not back yet, so I'm not going to act like he's got this loaded receiving core compared to the Commanders because they still have Scary Terry out there. But I mean, once the offensive scheme recognizes Golden for what he is, in my opinion, I think that offense can go lights out pretty quickly.
I agree. I like Golden a lot, and I mean, I'm with you there.
Is that going to happen this game? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
they have easier games to really let them rip in if they want to wait a couple weeks. So.
I will say, man, I think this game could be exciting. I do still predict a blowout. I'm just really not high on the Commanders. I don't know why. I just really don't think they're that good. I don't know, man. They're just
old. They definitely read as a team that outperformed their talent last year because people weren't ready for them to be as good as they were.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I could see them slumping this year. I see the Vikings as a similar team.
Yeah.
And that they'll probably have a slump, even though I do really like JJ.
And then obviously, let's just do our predictions for our favorite teams real quick before we sign off. So you got Steelers versus who this weekend?
Seahawks.
Oh, the Sea Chickens. So they're in Pittsburgh? Oh, that's brutal.
But they have a really good they got home a lot. So that's
their defensive line's gross.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. If they keep getting home, if they get home like that against us, we could have problems. But if Tariq Woolen is sniffing a starting position in that game, I have a feeling that Aaron Rodgers is literally is going to have a check designed specifically for identifying who Reek is on.
Yeah, I mean,
he's literally just going to be like, he's going to pump fake and get Reek to look and play the and let Calvin Austin just right behind him.
What do you think? You think you guys are going to comfortably win this one, touchdown or more?
It depends if the defense gets locked in. I think if there's a team we're going to defend against well, it'll be this one. So let's say, I think the offense is going to come back to earth. Definitely.
Okay.
I think probably, let's say a 21-13 dub.
Okay. And then obviously I have the Niners playing the worst team in the NFL, the Saints. I have a dub. I don't care that Brock's hurt.
Sure.
I don't care who's hurt.
I mean, you could argue Mac Jones is better than Rattler. Although Rattler looked good in my opinion. I think he looked
I do think he looked really good, actually. I think he looked solid. I think he doesn't have much talent to work with. Chris Olave's in the tent more than he's on the field. So I got Niners winning by more than a touchdown. I think the defense is going to make it so they probably don't score a touchdown. And I think Mac Jones is better than Rattler. I think Mac Jones is going to look really good too, because
that line. I think you're going to get a couple turnovers off of whoever, because Spencer's going to be having to throw some slop. He didn't throw any slop week 1, which is good. You're not going to not throw picks when you're getting run down like that, no matter who you are.
Nick Bosa is a man on a mission this year, bro. He looks insane.
Bro, I saw him just Le'Veon Bell style, just float through 3 blockers to get to the quarterback. And that's
dude, a lot of people were criticizing the first round guy, Michael, because he didn't have a bunch of stats on the box score. And if you look at the tape, the dude is absorbing double and triple. The final play of the game, he's getting triple team.
I'm curious, did Nick Bosa lose weight? Because he looked faster. Was one of the
things
I noticed about him.
He's so beautiful.
He looked quicker. Was something that I noticed, because one of the things,
beautiful thighs, I think.
One of the big criticisms that I say is the reason why Myles Garrett won't ever be as good as TJ Watt in terms of hitting the quarterback, is it's just harder for him to get home because he's so big and he's not fast enough. I feel like Nick Bosa looked noticeably faster, and it helped him avoid, like, instead of just blowing through blocks, it helped him avoid a lot of blocks that he didn't need to get. Like that, like I said, he floated through a two tight end chip. Like they had two tight ends there that were meant to at least get a hand on him, and then they just didn't because he just backed up, stepped through, and then beat the little swim club past the tackle and then went right back there.
That's Nicholas John Bosa, baby. He's just the best.
He, very
man.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of our teams are going to comfortably win this weekend, and then we both got the Packers tonight. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always, and we'll see you next week. See you later.